Wham! Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
Hey, and good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to Catch Our Drift. Joining me in studio, Ipsy and Bonderenka.
Once again, good Saturday afternoon.
And to you, my good friend. Good to see you.
Thank you.
You seem a little down today. Are you down?
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry. I'm surprised you picked up on that. I had...
I know you so well.
I had an emotionally traumatic event happen last night. That's been affecting me. Yeah.
Okay, well, we can talk about it later.
No, it's all right. I don't mind speaking about it. You can ask me. I was invited to put my boat on Whitmore Lake in the classic boat parade last night.
Really? And you
I was
didn't do it?
All set to do it, and work prevented me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Man.
You do have a classic boat. I love your boat.
Thank you.
I would love to find one similar to it.
Guy stopped by just as I was working on it Thursday to get it ready.
Yeah.
And he pulled up and says, "Is that for sale?" I said,
No.
No, I'm making sure I put the lock on the hitch.
Yeah, well, it's gone. I don't know what happened to it. Well, what we do every Saturday on The Drift is go over the news we put on thedailydrift.com. It's
The news you need to know.
Thank you. And make sure you go there. News from around the world, across the country, and right here at home sometimes if it's interesting. So www.thedailydrift.com. It is indeed the news you need to know. So before we get into things, and there's a lot to talk about today, let's take care of a little business. Aishelman Equipment, US 23 and 6 Mile Road, has all the lawn mowing, tractor equipment, you name it. Mark and Scott do a great job of setting you up with the right equipment. 734-994-6000. That's 734-994-6000. Or you can go to www.aishelman.com. That's AESCHLIMAN.com. Aishelman.com. And check out some of the stuff. Now, if you go to the Current, you can see all the prices and some of the tractors. So go to currentonline.com, COURANT online.com.
Tell Mark and Scott we sent you. You know who they are. You see them on the side of 23. You drive by them all the time.
They
And they
got
do
great
service
stuff.
work, too.
Yeah,
you know?
they got great equipment.
Good joint.
Lots of new. I think they've got used equipment as well.
Yep, I believe so. Trade-ins. Yep.
But great guys. So I like Mark and Scott.
And fuel economy. I remember Mark explaining to me the fuel economy on this one 60-horse tractor. It's like, 60 horse? That's less than a Volkswagen. But what they can do with that, it's amazing. Yeah.
It's all about the torque, right?
Yep, that's it. All about the torque.
Absolutely. So if you don't want to call into the show, you're welcome to, 734-822-1600. But you can email me, Gary, at thedailydrift.com.
Or text him at.
I'm the easiest man in the world to find. I always laugh when people say, Gary, I don't have your phone number. I'm like, you haven't Googled Gary because I'm the easiest guy. It's kind of spooky. You can find me real easy. But Google me up. But, well, today we're going to talk about this is going to be the I Told You So show. Forgive me now, folks, if I gloat a little bit, because I am going to gloat a little bit. All my never-Trumper friends and my liberal friends, yes, I have liberal friends. Why? Because I'm a nice guy. I don't hold that against you.
They're just Facebook friends, right?
If you're terminally stupid, doesn't mean you can't be my friend, right? But no.
Might be a qualification. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. I am across the board. I have friends across the spectrum, and I don't. It's a free country, right? You're free to be.
Just don't be rude.
Just don't be rude.
I like liberal friends. They're a good sounding board. Sometimes they straighten me out on stuff, on a fact or two that I was quoting wrong. But as long as you're not rude, I'll listen to you. We'll print lib letters in the Current. Just don't be rude.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Are you getting the calls that I used to get from people?
Not lately, but I got some good letters. We put in a lot of letters in the Current and the June edition, and then some people have called back or emailed back and said, thank you for printing those.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Well, that's great. All right, well, let's talk about the threat of tariff against
Mexico.
Never work. Right? Tariffs never work. Tariffs are bad. Trump's an idiot for trying to impose 5% tariff and the threat of blah, 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 blah. And lo and behold.
I was watching Tucker Carlson
last night when the breaking news came.
Breaking news.
I had to go back and I had to change the Daily Drift and update it with breaking news, right?
And where was the president at the time?
I don't know. He was overseas on his way back.
On his way back from the guy who remote works. You know what I mean? Like you and I work from home sometimes. Yeah,
transatlantic flight and managed to get the deal done. So it's absolutely crazy. So let's take a step back though, because earlier in the week you could see the signs that, you know what, despite the Republicans and the Democrats saying, "Ooh, we don't like it," blah blah blah, things started changing. Derek, you got track one. This was during the negotiations where they weren't going so well, allegedly. Let's hear this track.
Do you have a deal? Trump has threatened to impose 5% tariffs on Mexico starting on Monday if it does not stop the flow of migrants from Central America heading for the U.S. As Mexican Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard met with U.S. officials at the State Department, Trump took to Twitter saying, quote, "There is a good chance a deal could be reached."
We called on them to do more.
Vice President Mike Pence on Thursday said Mexico would have to take, quote, "decisive action." Amid the last-ditch talks, some signs of progress. Mexico has offered to send up to 6,000 of its National Guard troops to its southern border with Guatemala to block migrants heading for the U.S. Witnesses said Mexican soldiers and police on Wednesday had already begun stopping hundreds of migrants after they crossed the border from Guatemala.
Okay. So it started earlier in the week, but still people were saying it's never going to happen. It's a bad news. We don't want tariffs. We don't like tariffs. You can't mix
even
the
some
two.
of his administration was saying, well, we probably will have tariffs on Monday.
Yeah.
You know?
Which, when you're negotiating, imagine how well our negotiations could go if the Republicans and the Democrats would for once back up the president. You know what? That deal with North Korea, I'll tell you why it fell through. Because the Democrats and the Republican rhinos were saying, ooh, you know, Trump impeachment, blah, 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 he's guilty, whatever.
Orange man
you know
bad.
what? That just gave the North Koreans that we're going to ask for a little more and not get it. And Trump said, you're not getting it. That deal was sabotaged by our own people, the Democrats and the Republicans.
By our allies, too, that are still trading with them, you know, the backdoor deals and the under the radar stuff.
Yeah, it's insane to me how Democrats and Republicans, some of our own Republicans, can actually work against the best interest of the country and our president by saying stuff like this when we're in the middle of a negotiation.
Think about it, you know, it was D-Day celebrated recently, right? A couple days ago.
Yeah.
And you think of World War II and the Unified Front. Hey, this is America. Why can't we have a loyal opposition instead of just an opposition? Why can't we have, you know, people that say, you know what, we're pro-America. Let's back this president. We may talk to him privately, but let's not say we're going to throw him in jail.
Right.
You know, let's not try and cut him off the knees so that any other regime says we just need to sit him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's hear what Mitch McConnell. I'll give Mitch the benefit of the doubt because he kind of qualified his statement a little bit. But, Derek, do you have track 2 there with Mitch McConnell? Go ahead and play that.
Well, there is not much support in my conference for tariffs, that's for sure. But we appreciate the opportunity. We had an opportunity at lunch to talk to a number of representatives from the White House about this particular strategy. I think I can safely say most of us hope that this Mexican delegation that's come up here and discussed the challenges at the border and what the Mexicans might be able to do to help us more than they have will be fruitful, and that these tariffs will not kick in. I think it's safe to say, you've talked to all of our members, we're not fans of tariffs. We're still hoping that this can be avoided. At the same time, it's way past time the president's requests for assistance from our government be met. I mean, we walked out of here after we did this supplemental, and the Democrats insisted on taking out of the supplemental they just passed in the House yesterday anything to address the humanitarian crisis at the border.
All right. So we're getting more.
Nothing I can argue with there.
Yeah, we're getting more assistance from the Mexican government than we are from our own government.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And people, I was
from the House, certainly.
Earlier this week, I had heard some people, other pundits saying, Mexico can't do anything about it, blah. Wait a minute. Mexico has some of the toughest immigration laws on the books.
On the books.
You and I can't walk into Mexico without going to jail unless we do it the right way. And yet, on the southern border, they've been letting thousands and thousands through. They've been letting the cartels and the globalists pay for all these caravans come through. Mexico has the ability. The law is on their side to stop it if they want to. Somebody need to apply the stick, and Trump did. And it's a doggone shame that a guy like Mitch McConnell with that little statement, we don't support tariffs. You strengthen the hand of the Mexican negotiators when you say that.
I will say that he said we generally don't support.
Generally.
He did qualify it.
He qualified.
And I can understand that. But
that still hurts the negotiation process. Unified front, at least for a week, right?
Okay.
While we're negotiating, shut your pie hole. It's that simple.
A friend of mine questioned on her blog, says, well, what's going to make the Mexicans continue? They talk a good story. How do we know they're going to follow through? I was like, well, he's still got the tariff in his pocket,
And they said, we'll give you 90 days.
Yeah.
Show us.
Yep.
Right? Put your money where your mouth is. Show us, or we'll go back to this.
Yeah, obviously, they're reacting to the threat of the tariff. So what does that mean? Threat of the tariff works.
Absolutely did. Let's take a call from Joe in Wyandotte. Wants to talk about tariffs. Joe, welcome to the show.
Joe doesn't like tariffs.
Thanks. See, I agree with you. Mitch should have probably just kept quiet. But I don't have a problem with what he said because it's kind of what I've been saying all along. I talked to Theron earlier in the week. I'm anti-tariff, but I wholeheartedly agree with Trump. It's time, long past time, we get tough. And what is the weapon we have other than putting 50,000 armed troops on the border and saying if your drug cartels come at us, we'll come into Mexico and gun them down? It's tariffs. That's the weapon we got. So I'm willing to give them slack, and thankfully it worked. And what was it that Reagan said? Trust but verify. I think kind of Ed was leaning towards this. I don't trust them any more than I do the North Koreans. If they violate the agreement, slap it right to 25%. Go right past the 5%.
As far as the trust but verify, I think what we have to keep in mind here about Mexico is that it looks like a so to speak corrupt democracy, but really the reach of the cartels is so strong in that country. It's like a macro Chicago under Al Capone. Looks like people voted for people and passed laws on the outside, but really run by the mob on the inside. And that's what Mexico is at right now. And they've got a financial interest. I mean, you've got these coyotes who have been paying dues to the cartels so that they can run their operation. There's a lot of underworld politics going on there with this whole operation.
Absolutely.
And the cartels are paying off the politicians in Mexico and even most likely the president.
And they expect their money back.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, right? So if you have a corrupt government, it's all about the money. And was the threat of the tariffs, and maybe there's money coming from all the industry that would be losing out. Obviously, that threat of that loss in money overcame whatever money they're getting paid by the cartels.
I'm going to go slightly off topic here. We're talking about corrupt governments and money influencing corrupt governments. If Tim Walberg had come on today, I wouldn't suggest that Tim accepts money for votes, but he's in that crowd. He must know roughly how much a vote goes for. And I'd like to know how much a congressional vote goes for in our Congress, in our House of Representatives. And then I'd start a GoFundMe. Joe, you're good at that. I'd have you set it up.
Yeah.
And then we say, we want to build the wall. How much does it cost for you to change your vote? Oh, by the way, we want to get rid of abortion. How much do we have to? How much is Planned Parenthood paying you? And then have a bidding war. What do you think?
I'm laughing, but I know you're serious, and yeah, I would go there with you. Exactly, yeah. How much? All right, so let's be up front and honest. We know you sell your vote. How much is it?
Yeah.
Some people sell their vote.
I didn't say they all do. I didn't say
Nancy Pelosi. If you're going to do that, let's go after Nancy, the big dog. Let's see if we can buy her vote. Yeah. Right? Should we start a GoFundMe, Joe, to buy Nancy into being a real American for a change?
We know Joe Biden just sells his vote for a call from Alyssa Milano.
You're